Hello everyone and welcome to our class on world history. Today we are going to talk about agricultural revolution that took place in the mid 18th century and that resulted in industrial revolution, and it is one of the most important topic. It is most important topic because it ensured industrial revolution. So, when we talk about agricultural revolution, it meant that there was surplus in agriculture. The agricultural produce that was earned or that was created during this time, that was so huge that it allowed the growth or boom in industrial revolution itself. So, today we are going to study how did agricultural revolution brought industrial revolution. So, when we talk about agricultural revolution, it was introduced with the introduction of new farming tools. Before 18th century, agricultural revolution was actually a labor intensive industry where manual labor was used to till the land or plow the land. Now, with the introduction of machine was introduced in the agriculture. This resulted in growth or surplus of agriculture. So, as I told you, agricultural revolution is equal to surplus in agriculture. So, when you have to understand what resulted in this surplus in agriculture, the first thing is new farming tools. So, there were mechanical tools for every activity, agricultural activity such as plows, steel plows were available and harrow. Similarly, for reaping and threshing also there were steel or iron mechanical tools available. Mechanical tools were now available for activities like threshing and reaping. Another important tool that was used was mechanical seed drills. So, all these activities actually resulted in surplus of the agricultural produce, but at the same time it also allowed more and more, it actually freed more and more labor which could be used for industries, and that resulted in industrial revolution. So, the introduction of new farming tool, what did it result in? The next important aspect was free labor or surplus of labor. So, as I told you, with the use of machine, the agricultural activities could now be accomplished in lesser time. This gave farmers enough time to engage in secondary activity. So, in an agricultural pursuit where a whole family was involved, now there was time for few of the family members to travel to the cities and then work there. This labor surplus gave enough impetus to the agricultural revolution. So, you can say that agricultural revolution also as agricultural revolution happened, it also gave a boom to industrial revolution. What are the other factors? Free labor resulted in presence of cheap labor. Now, because there were many people who were available for work, the industries, the newly set up industries in London now could use these labor, and these laborers were available for cheap price. They were not very expensive. this was also a reason why industrial revolution took place. But this cheap labor was also used by bigger landlords in their land. So it is somewhere associated with another movement. Okay, that movement is known as Enclosure Movement. Now, in 18th century, because of the presence of such free labor, the big landlords started, started coming up with plans with the parliamentarian. Under this movement, these large land holders, they started bringing the marginal lands within their control, or the land which was there in the village, which was not used for any other purpose, which was named as common. These land were used within the agricultural sector. So what happened during this time? Large land holders brought marginal farmers, marginal farmers under one land holding. This movement in many places have been criticized because these landowners, they used coercion, and parliamentarians were also involved in the whole process. But this resulted in another agricultural boom. The small marginalized land were now converted into large estates, and these large estates resulted in lot of land being used for the cultivation of particular crop. And what were these particular crop? Because at that time industries needed cash crop. What is cash crop? Cash crop is a crop which is not used for dietary purpose, but it can be used for creating such product which can be sold in the market. So now these lands were growing cash crop which was needed in industries. So what do we see? The enclosure movement finally resulted in the production of cash crop. And this whole set of land which was earlier divided into small land holding was brought under the state, and cash crop was grown in large number. The industries which were set up in Europe needed these cash crop. There was demand for these cash crop, and finally Britain itself became the major exporter of finished good, because large cash crop were pushed towards the industries and finished good were produced. Now this resulted in industrial revolution as well. I had mentioned in my classes that agricultural revolution in itself is an important topic because it resulted in industrial revolution. These are the factors which led to the growth of agricultural revolution, but at the same time it gave a boon to industrial revolution as well. So today in our chapter we discussed what happened under agricultural revolution, and we realized how it helped industrial revolution. But there is one more point before I finish. The sixth point that I must talk about is the contribution of researchers such as Charles Townshend. What did he do? He introduced intensive agriculture. He introduced methods like crop rotation, which resulted in surplus in agriculture. Surplus in agriculture provided Europe, or specifically Britain, the food security that it needed. So what did it resulted in? Achievement of food security. Food security. So when food security was available, labor was free for the use in industry. A country was given lot of labor surplus which could be used in industrial sector instead of agricultural sector. So with this point, I'll end today's class, and I hope this class was helpful for you.